Okay, my name is Clifford Nathaniel. I'm a clinic manager for Pathways Behavior Health. I manage the site in Dyersburg. I have a staff of 20 psychiatrists, case managers, outpatient therapists. I've been driving to Dyersburg for about 8 years now. Takes about 15 minutes. You know, seriously, about 15 minutes. Been actually teaching for, it used to be the academy for the last 15 years, then it changed over to Healthy Heights. I have a master in counseling, psych, and license in psychology, and have a license to teach. I teach psych nursing in Jackson State. Been teaching psych nursing for about 15 years. Psychology is a passion and something that I love. So we're talking about stress. We're talking about this thing we call stress. I wanted to put this other slide up here. That's taking an extra few minutes. When you look at stress, put an ing on everything that you're mentally doing is the key. So when you're stressing, when you're angering, when you're depressing, when you're worrying, all of these things basically going on. When you're feeling hopeless, when you're feeling powerless, and you're basically giving up, and all of this worrying, it's basically a lot of activity, or mental activity, or emotional or physical activity basically that you're doing. So it's a state of doing. Doing is the key to stress. All the anxiety, and all of the stressing. It's kind of like a full-time job when you look at stressing, because you have to actually continue to give it energy, give it attention, and to give it time in order to basically continue the job. That's how I look at stress. All of the worrying individuals are coming in with ulcers and back pain and migraines, and they're just angry about all these things, just angry, just eating themselves up, and all of the stress just pounding on the body when you look at stress. So for our focus here is basically look at what is stress? Stress is basically any demand, any expectation, or any self-imposed standard expectation basically that you're putting on yourself, basically called psychological, physical, and emotional issues. All of this doing is the key. Now, all this stressing is the key. Life stressors, demands from West Tennessee Healthcare, demands that you self-impose, demands from your job, demands from your children, significant, all of this pressure, this tension that's basically being put on you. But look what stress does now. It typically causes what? You to be stressed out. It causes you to be anxious and nervous and jittery and panicky and restless. And all these things that you're processing is the key. Just frustrated, just irritable, all this anger or angering. About what though? When you look at stress. You have high risk times that you overeat or undereat, that you don't eat. Chocolate, candy, sodas, drinks, cigarette smoking, walking to the curb smoking, hiding smoking. All this stuff is going on. Difficulties focusing. All this stuff is just eating it. It's a state of doing when you look at stress. But look at the field. It basically studies the relationship between the central nervous system and the relationship between the immune system. I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 this year. I'm still a baby. Age is just a number. I don't take any medication. No high blood pressure, no cholesterol, no diabetes. I take multivitamins because I mentally choose not to stress. My hospital bill with WTH over the last 3 years, I've been about $120. Just $120. Basically because awareness is the key when you look at stress management. Look, what stress changes the balance of things. It's kind of like a balance in the wheel of life. All of these things that you're functioning trying to controlling and worrying, there's too much on your plate sometimes. I call it the process of selective letting go when you look at stress management. Look what chronic stress does. As it worsens, it causes ulcers, bleeding ulcers. It causes migraines, which are psychologically caused from some forms of thinking. Look at personality and disease. An individual who actually see the negative aspect. It's kind of like you have a filter in your mind that when you zoom at the world, when you zoom at others, or you zoom at yourself, you're actually just filtering on negative factors or negative clues and signs and symptoms that actually creates or activates the stress process. It's that individuals who are less vulnerable to stress have personality that acts like buffers. It's kind of like their guards. And basically they scan and they manage and they scan and they link, they code, encode. They're actually picking up meaningful information. Anything that's useless, kick it to the curb or throw it to the back or don't file it when you get stressed. The key is to have a positive outlook. Life is a continued series of opportunities, according to Dr. Peck. Or you can say life is a what? A state of problem, a daily problem, continued problem. But if a positive outlook say life is basically what? Opportunities. When you look at stress management. Disease, personality, is the individual who harbor anger, which is a choice. Individual who harbor hostility, which is a decision. Individuals who are resentful. Individuals who are real suspicious. Put you at a high risk of having what? Heart problems. All of the stress and pressure on the heart, kidneys, lung, it's basically pressure. Type A personality. This high sense of urgency, this high sense of what? Importance. Have to be on time. Everything has to be checked and balanced. Kind of like OCD. Type A. Just driven, but you're in this chronic state of what? Stress. When you look at stress. So most scientists believe that there's a link between personality and health conditions. Mind over matter. When you look at what's going on with your body, what's going on in the mind. Look at some coping things that you can do when you're dealing with stress. Coping strategy, different type of behavior responses, different thought processes that has a lot to do with stress. Problem focus. Okay, let's say opportunity focus. Instead of saying problem. Let's say emotional focus. Has a lot to do with social support system. Has a lot to do with utilizing your time. Time management is the key to deal with all of these responsibilities. I write a lot. It's an emotional outlet to process basically what's going on internally. Social support groups, spirituality, individuals who can actually connect with you and pick up on what's going on with you when you're dealing with a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. Relaxation works really well. Deep breathing is key. Progressive muscle relaxation. I use these techniques almost daily. I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of imagery creating. I do a lot of self-talk. A lot of physical exercise at the left side. A lot of dancing. A lot of walking, bike riding. See, but the key to self-talk, positive messages. You're actually motivating and you're actually driving yourself, not from a will, but from a mental program. Sports psychology used on athletes. They use it all the time to get inside the head. They use thought insertion, self-instruction to actually take you through the whole 48 minutes of the game, and you actually what? Your performance is great. Meditation is real good. Just meditate on the positive outcome of things. When you have a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility, just stay positive. You can see the outcome, and you're enjoying the process. And physical exercise is number one. It requires commitment. Time management is the key. Develop a game plan, Sam. Have a blueprint of this is what I'm going to do with my time today. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. And basically you can see the way. Dr. Whaley talks about writing the 7 C's. And number one is time. Manage the clock. That's basically what he suggests. This is a new hold the book up for me if you don't mind. This is a book by Daniel Golden. Emotional Intelligence. Has a lot to do with stress management. I suggest this book to almost any individual or family that I work with or see or talk. Say, read the book. It talks about stress. It talks about techniques and opportunity ways to actually manage stress. It talks about what emotional intelligence has a lot to do with research, has a lot to do with what your emotion, being in tune with your emotion, understanding your emotion, being able to label your emotion is what the book is actually dealing with. He believes the individual with a high IQ can become more successful in their personal, family, and academic life. He believes that individuals with IQ are more effective and more successful because they're empathic, they're mature, they're bubbly, they enjoy life, and instead of stressing about life. A definition: individuals with high EI have a set of abilities that actually allow individuals to recognize, to use their emotions in an effective and a productive way to deal with the environment and to deal with others. He talks about identifying your emotions, because we're feelings. We get up in the morning, we're feeling. We go to sleep, we're feeling. We're driving to work, we're feeling. Okay, we can use our emotion, or we can take our emotion to help us to understand our stress sometimes. And you can learn how to self-monitor or self-manage your emotions. He talks about self-awareness. It's an awesome approach to self-management. He talks about self-management, self-motivation out of the book. He talks a lot about social awareness. It's just knowing your emotions, managing, motivating yourself. He talks a lot about recognizing your picking up on emotions in relationships or co-workers has a lot to do with inheriting stress, which is nothing but energy now. Look at the box of the IQ model. Basically, this is you here. And as individuals, we function, which is a state of knowing. Self-awareness of my function, which are my thoughts. Self-awareness of my emotions. Self-awareness of social awareness, which is my environment and others around. Social awareness of my relationships. When I'm actually functioning and when I'm actually dealing with day-to-day stresses. These are some approaches that he talks about for stress management. Having great interpersonal skills, or interpersonal, or adaptability, or stress management, or basic general mood. It's individuals with good moods are better in inductive reasoning and creative problem solving. Look at self-awareness. How aware are you of your feelings? How much attention do you give to your values and your goals when related to stress? Anxiety has a lot to do with stress, worrying and self-doubt, uncertainty, unpredictability. How confident are you in your job situation? That can actually cause the irritability, the restlessness, can cause the tension in the stomach part when you're looking at self-management and stress management. Self-control when you're dealing with stress. Are you really in control? Or do you think you're in control? When you look at stress, or when you look at stressing. Empathy. These are great listening skills. Understanding different point of views has a lot to do with taking the initiative to what motivate or actually try to be persistent, basically focus on whatever the task for West Tennessee Healthcare. Social competence. It's building rapport within them, looking at ways to minimize stress, also influencing others so that we can all work together for the overall mission. Mood management is basically when you're under a lot of stress, you're actually paying attention to the self only, self-psychology. You're paying attention to the external environment. When you're actually feeling angry, or you're feeling stressed, or you're feeling tense, or you're worried, or you're upset, or your thoughts are clogged, or you can't focus, you're actually trying to see, what's going on with me? What's causing me to have these type of symptoms? Pushing yourself. Dealing with setbacks, which are life changes. Life changes deals with what? Changes on the job, changes at work, change at home, changes in relationship. Anytime something equals loss, you're going to go through a period of stress, which is healthy and which is normal. How do you deal with stress on the job? How do you deal with a coworker on the job? How do you deal with deadlines or different tasks that you think are unrealistic? Or a coworker, basically, it's a my way or no way situation. If you please be realistic, because as organizational behavior, this is normal and is here. And it creates and causes a lot of stress when you think about it. How do you manage your time? How do you manage your energy? Do you take care of your bodies? Do you drink a lot of water? Do you take naps? Do you get a lot of rest? To actually keep the body functioning at this pace? Or these standards that the world actually imposed on them? This is stress management. How can you avoid addictive behavior? I take the word addicted out and say, how can you pay attention to certain choices? Because addicted is just a word, but choice is basically what an individual have to do. It's just another way of thinking about it. Managing others. How can you manage close relationships that create stress? See, because we're all connected together. Connectivity is the key. How can you lead by example? How can you help others to develop or acquire certain skills so that we can actually start reducing and actually start alleviating? Because we probably won't ever eliminate stress, because stress is good. We have eustress and you have bad stress. Bad stress is when you're pretending or you denial or you're acting as if it doesn't exist. Eustress is when you take your mind and you look at all these different angles, look at all these different options to deal with whatever the situation is. Or look at all these different options. How can I motivate? How can I help? Because if you can see the goal, and if you can actually see the deficiencies or the lack of knowledge of knowing of the coworker, then you can actually help develop and lead that person. And then the team arrives together when you look at stress management. What about confronting others? What do you think about confronting others that are stressing you or that I'm allowing them to stress me? It's a big difference, isn't it? How can you collaborate with others? That's a different way of looking at stress management. Look at emotional perception. Identify your own emotion experiences of others or attitude, emotional assimilation. It's know how to use emotion to help you to shape judgment and behavior when you're dealing with stress management. Understanding emotion. The rich emotional base causes the body sensation, has a lot to do with the energy of the body. How do you regulate and manage your emotions? Have you thought about it this way before? When all these emotions are stirring up or flaring up or waking up, how do you manage these things? Are you a stuffer? Or are you very aggressive? Or are you passive? Has a lot to do with internalizing stress. When you look at stress management. Daniel Goleman states that what matters for success has a lot to do with your character, has a lot to do with happiness, has a lot to do with a lifelong achievement that is definitely of emotional skills. Your IQ or your EI has a lot to do with purely cognitive abilities that are measured by IQ tests. So if you look at emotional intelligence and stress management, it's basically one's ability to relate to others, deal with others, to deal with change. You're flexible, you're adaptable, and then it has a lot to do with having less stress. It's a great book to read. Look at situations. I like this one here. Avoid certain individuals or places or objects that create stress. You're riding to work and your mind is on autopilot and you're thinking about certain coworker or you're thinking about certain deadline, and then as soon as you arrive to work, you're stressed out. Has that ever happened? Because 85% of the time, research say, we talk to ourselves. 15% we tell others what's on our mind, but we don't tell them. This is something to think about. How can you take situations and actually modify it? Modification is like reframing. Your husband or your significant other ride home from work, and you've taken the furniture and you rearranged it. And you've taken all of the pictures and put them in new frames. Basically, you've changed the situation, there's a different view. When you look at stress management. Okay, how can you see yourself responding different or relating different or acting different or listening different? When you're at work or at home, that's dealing with stress. Just shifting the way you look at things and process and interpret and do appraisal, which is problem focused or emotion focused, which actually reduce and eliminate stress. Look at some of our quotes here. Henry Ford. He said life is a series of experiences. Each one which make us bigger, even though it's hard to realize this. For the world was built to develop our character. We must learn that setbacks and griefs we must endure help us in what? In marching on, or moving forward, or pressing out. Dr. Peck would say that stand and embrace, and then take ownership and responsibility, and then create the change and alleviate stress. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them with all the care and kindness and understanding that you can muster. They say your life will never be the same again. Mother Teresa, I do this a lot. Smile at each other. Smile at your wife, co-worker, your husband. Smile at your kids. Smile. It doesn't matter who it is. And it will help you to grow in greater love for each other. And then there is no stress. I call that unconditional. Unconditional. And so when you listen with empathy to another person, you give that person psychological care, which is one of our lower needs, which is an important need, the need to feel heard, the need to feel understood, and the need to be listened to. You can actually alleviate stress. You can turn the alarm clock off that this person put all the stress and pressure and force towards you, and then you can actually achieve the goals together. Tenderness and kindness are not signs of weakness and despair, but manifestations of strength and resolution. What do you think about that quote? Sandy?
Very true.
Very true. It's emotional intelligence is a way of reorganizing when you're dealing with stress. It's a way of understanding and choosing how we think. Choosing how we think. If you take a quarter, the back of the quarter, you're at your desk or you're riding in the car, the back of the quarter represents emotions. It could be anger, it could be depression, it could be guilt, it could be sadness or fear. That's the emotional state that you're in. Turn the quarter over, what's going on in your mind? What are you thinking? What are you thinking about? What are you processing? What are you deciding? What are you predicting? What are you jumping to conclusion and deciding? What are you turning into something small and you're creating and making things? Okay. Are you telling yourself this should be this way? Are you saying it ought to work? Are you saying it must work? Are you saying it's got to work? Are you saying it need to work? Dr. Ellis called those masturbations. All these things we tell ourselves that must work. Oh, they must treat me right. They will listen to me. Things cannot work unless they are my way. It's either my way or the highway. No. I will get my way. These are universal, irrational beliefs that's tied into your thought process. What about stress management and your thoughts dealing with disqualifying the positive? Everything is positive except for one thing. And then the mind filters on that one thing and disqualifies everything. And then the stress takes over the body. Anybody experienced anything like that? When you're looking at stress management? Okay. What about choosing how we feel? Remember, you feel the way you think. Your thoughts cause your feelings. So when you're stressed out and high blood pressure, when you're stressed out and tense, and when you're edgy, when you're nervous, and you're restless, and you're irritable, and you can't be still, you forget your PIN numbers at the bank, and your routing numbers, you forget all this stuff because the mind is clouded and flooded, and what's going on? That's a lot of stress. Or Dr. Rogers say, could you be fat? When you look at how you feel. Stress management has a lot to do with emotions. Emotions could be the four negative, which would be your anger, your sadness, your fear, or your guilt. If you get stuck in one of the boxes, which is an emotional blockage, which causes you to act based on how you feel. And then you're wondering why individuals don't want to be around you. Because you create stress with emotions. Whenever I say fat, I get into a lot of trouble. It's the humanistic psychology. Say your feelings. and you're driven by emotions, but you're not thinking. When you look at the thoughts and your feelings. What about the way you act when you look at stress management? It's all about behavior. You can see the behavior of the world. You can see the behavior of others. Who am I missing? But you don't see yourself. These are the three departments of the brain that create stress, that creates psychiatric conditions. So if you're a fella, okay, see, I need to encourage you to become a thinker. Okay, if you're a thinker, I'm wondering if you continue to do this, how are you going to feel? Or how do you think they're feeling when you're doing stress management? Or Skinner and Bandura say, we're just creatures of habits. Do you have lifestyle habits or ways of functioning and living and doing that create stress? What do you think? I didn't say I was right now. That's what I tell my nursing students. I didn't say I was right. I'm just wondering, what do you say? You can't get rid of a habit unless you replace it. But the habit you replace it with has to give you the same way. Gratification or benefit or reward, which is a form of how we operate, which is operant conditioning. It's just a new way to look at stress. It shapes our interactions the way we think. It shapes our interaction based on what we feel. See, because feelings generate nothing but vibration and energy. When you look at what's creating stress. And behavior functioning, if it's not normal, then it's causing others to what? Go down with you. Which psychologists call, that's one of the scales. But remember, on this end of the scale, you have success. The opposite end is failure. I'm in the middle. Whatever stress I'm under, or the stresses that I'm functioning, or the demand, all this stuff that's on me has a lot to determine the direction that I will move in, which would be the state of doing. And individuals who are under a lot of stress, the BCP, their behavior is trying to control their perception. And you're trying to figure out, why are they doing this? Don't they see what they're doing? Don't they see how they're hurting the department? Don't you see that they're hurting themselves, how they're hurting others? But the behavior is all they know sometimes, which is self-destruction, which is stressful, which is self-defeating, which is stressful. When you look at stress. One thing about stress management, think about the needs of humans. What are your needs? The greatest need of all is love. That's the greatest. Belonging, ID, affiliation, acceptance, respect, to feel important, to feel significant, to blend in, to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel heard, to feel listened to. The behavior goal is to fulfill certain needs. And then if you look at what you're doing, then you can see the stress because you see the needs you're trying to fulfill. And when individuals coming in, you can see this is what they're doing. And you can see that they're under a lot of stress. And then it helps you to understand what's missing, and then you try to help them acquire the knowledge and the skill, and over time the stress starts going away, blood pressure starts going down, the lifestyle habits start changing, start exercising, the personality was broken, now it's reintegrated, and it's back set. You think that happens? Think it happens? You ready to? Or do they want the pill? We're dealing with stress now. When you're on a lot of stress, are you looking for quick relief? Or are you ready to actually commit to a behavior plan to alleviate stress? To look at the ways you think, to look at how your feelings create stress, to look at how the behavior continues to build and maintain stress. See, because as humans, our flesh is weak. We don't like to struggle, and we don't like to suffer. So when we're under a lot of stress, we're looking for relief right now. So emotional intelligence, it's a new way to look at stress. This is my first time doing this presentation. It's a new way to look at stress. It's a new way to look at relationships. It's a new way to look at the emotional side of stress. It's a new way to look at how behavior is what maintains stress in all these different areas of life. You could call it you incorporation. It's kind of like we all have our own corporation, and it's called you incorporation. You are responsible for you. You manage you. You take care of you. You pay attention to you. You watch out for you. You're responsible for your own financial security from you incorporation. You're responsible for your own budget. You're responsible for managing your time when you're looking at stress management. You're responsible for your communication, what you say and how you say it. You're responsible for what you do and what you don't do. Because, Sandy, I haven't been angry in 17 years. Because I'm saving my anger for the right time. That's Dr. Wayne. I like that quote. So what are y'all thinking? Because we're running toward the end. Like I all learned in the development of emotional intelligence, which understand the emotional world. Understanding what makes you tick is one of the goals of psychology. It's to define it, to describe it, to predict it, to understand it. What makes you tick? What makes you stress? What makes you irritable? What makes you upset? It has a lot to do with building new patterns in the brain. That's my goal. That's my goal. How can we take these patterns and create new experiences? How can we take this new learning and integrate it and change and cause positive experiences? It's just like beginning with the end in mind. Have you ever thought about win-win? Have you thought about that? Have you ever thought about listening first and then ask to be understood? Stephen Covey, 7 skills. Now, we know these things, right? But in times of stress, sometimes we forget to utilize them. Any thoughts, questions? It's a new way of doing stress. It's just a new way. Because stress is your stress. I take the topics and try to make them more enjoyable and more meaningful. What do you think about stress? Are you stressed? Okay, put the ing. What are you stressing about? Here goes the table of I can, the table I can't. So what can you do about what you're stressing about? And the things that you can't do anything about doesn't matter. I can listen more often. Okay, I can return some phone calls. I can say, thank you, Sandy, because I like your emails when you send them out about the changes. I like that, Sandy. I really do. I'm being honest. She's been bubbly and happy for the last 15 years I've known her. And I like that about Sandy. See how easy it is just to say those positive things? Okay, what about the things that you can't do anything about? You can't do anything about the past. You can't do anything about what they didn't do or what they said. You can't do anything about that. But you can take the past and I can become what? Greener, and I can become wiser. I can become more respectful, more what? Concerned, more involved, more active. No. I can't do that. What are you thinking? Okay, I can stop thinking about all this, and then I won't have these intrusive and troubling and unwanted and racing thoughts that keep me up at night. Oh, no. I can't stop thinking about what they said and how they treat. I can't stop thinking about I didn't get their promotion. So in the middle, I want everybody to get on your computer. This is a suggestion. I'm encouraging you to consider doing it, and type up the #1 stress management technique is to accept the unchangeable. It's over, it's lived, it's done, it doesn't exist anymore. Because there is no past, it's only the present. And there is no future, it's only the present. Starting 3rd 20, first day of spring, accept the unchangeable. And then focus on what I can change. And when I see you again walking through the halls, you're going to be walking on water. Thanks for your attention and your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.